Hello. This is roughly right after Christmas, December 2022. This engine here was a subject of discussion from Fabo for A bodies only in the slant 6 section. So it was named 198. What's it worth? The person who got it was Dion R. Who got this engine gifted to him from a buddy. He was told it was a 198. It came out of a 69 Dodge Dart. And he wanted to know what it was worth. 198s are not fairly common. They're kind of rare, actually. They were made from 68 to 74, I believe. They superseded the 170, which by that time was getting too small for the cars. And how do you tell what you get? He didn't know. He thought it was a 190 because he was told 198. So how do you identify a slant 6? I guess is what it comes down to. This is about 2 inches right here. This is the rubber hose from the water pump to the cylinder head. The 170 would be 1 inch. 225 or 198 would be 2 inches. So this is how I know this is a 225 block. You have this number right here. Let's see if we can get that in there so you can see that. This is the casting number for this block. You can find what this number means on the internet. Since it's a slant 6, they're not all that accurate. According to some sites, this number here was made between 63 and 65. Others say between 63 and 67. The slant 6, nobody cares. So we know basically when this block was cast. We have 3 water freeze plugs. This was done before, this block was cast before 67, because after 67 they had 5. This has a -1 after the number. This means this is the first revision of the mold to make this block. We have these 3 things here. I believe this is for shift. First, second, and third shift. So this was made in the graveyard shift. Turn this around. Just a little bit. I don't know if we can see this right here. This here is the number, the actual date this engine was assembled. And this number means something. Shine up a little bit. Let's see. Get out here so we can actually read this thing. It says VT22. Okay, VT22. 22 means it's a 225. T either means truck or Trenton, depending on which engine plant. V, I don't know what it is. And here we got the assembly date, which is 7/13. And we got a 2 over here. The 13 part 1/3 means this is done. Oh, let's see. 1 is January, 3 would be 63. So this engine was assembled in January of 63. So we know it was a 225 because of the casting number and this. We know it was built and the year it was manufactured. We know the date it was assembled, which was January 1963. The T can either stand for truck or Trenton. This engine is painted yellow. And in 63, yellow engines were put in trucks. So this thing probably was put into a D100 in 1963. It has a, go down here, if you guys can see this. It has a bushing in the back of the crankshaft, so it's been drilled for a standard clutch. There's no grease in there. So I don't think it's had it. This may or may not have had a manual transmission on the back. The bushing itself doesn't look all that worn. So maybe it was an automatic. Back in '63, they bushed all engines, put the bushings in here, so they could use it for whether it's automatic or standard transmission. We got A-body motor mounts on it. That's for a '69. This came out of a '69 Dart. The guy took it out of the '69 because one, it needed to be rebuilt. It stopped running, and he was going to put a Gen 3 Hemi in it. So let's look at this side of the block. What have we got here? It's got a fairly decent. It's got a Wix oil filter on it, so somebody actually cared about the engine a little bit. It's got a newish fuel pump, so it's not the original '63 fuel pump, but it's old enough so that it's a little rusted and not have the gold erudite on it. Cap looks good, standard heavy duty excellent type cap. The light duty ones are black, the heavy duty ones are brown. In the late '70s, Eklund used to own a cell, and they'd sell this same cap like this as super heavy duty racing components for 3 times the amount of money you could buy from that heavy duty parts department catalog. Nice rip-off. Rotor's not too bad, not too old, hardly any wear on the end here. We have a new condenser, like we got new points, and it looks pretty clean inside this distributor. So somebody's cleaned this, or they put a new one in there at one point. Got the standard 6-point oil pump on it. You can tell it's got 6 bolts on it. Got the Drool style head. This is the unique. Later model blocks, they didn't put the oil sender unit in here. And in fact, this is one of the modifications that Doug Dutra suggests you do on your block, is to drill this and put a fitting in there so you can direct oil from other places. Another one is he suggests putting one right about here so you can also use it as an oil tap. I don't know what the good of that one is, but hey, who knows. Not too badly dirty. They pulled this engine apart because they thought it was a 198, and the big deal about the 198 is, that was a move, is that the rods are longer than 225, and it's an update that the 225 guys do to get a little bit more compression, and they can use this lighter piston and push it farther up the bore. Longer rods is supposed to give you better dwell time at top dead center when you're racing. It does, it does not. It doesn't make any difference for the Slant 6. Various people say yes, various people say no. I don't know, I never built an engine like that. Those who have says they're kind of less prone to detonation. Trying to do that in your A-body. Okay, so we got a box of parts with this thing. The old style valve cover. Not too bad actually inside. Rust marks, but not really gummed up. It's not bad. Timing chain. Not bad at all. The way to test these things is you hold it like this and it droops down. They're wore out. It looks like a new timing chain. Somebody did rebuild this thing. Alternator bracket and coil. Somebody just cut it out. Smart. Dampener. Not worn out in the back. It's got a groove, but it's not really, well, there's a little bit of war in there. So maybe or maybe not this will seal up good. Won't know until you try. Timing chain cover. I find this interesting. The later ones have one welded on here on this side to do the timing from. This one has a bolt on one, and this is broken, by the way. It bolts on like this, and that's supposed to tell you where top dead center is. But that's broken because there should be a timing tab on. No, no, wait a minute. Well, it's definitely bent. There you go. Plus minus 10, 0. I've never seen one like this before. I thought it was bent. It's not. Wow. It had a steel shim gasket. This thing had water in the oil pan when they tore it apart. So it leaked oil, antifreeze and water in the oil pan. So it leaks sometime. It leaks someplace. They suspect it's a cracked cylinder head or a cracked cylinder. Or I have no idea. I haven't taken it apart that far to find out. This is not a Chrysler shim gasket. It doesn't have the Penn-Star on it. If it was a Chrysler, it'd have the Penn-Star. This is aftermarket. To me, it looks like they did not put it together right. There should be some type of gasket sealer on here. Either shellac of some sort. I always preferred using silver paint. You paint both sides silver, drop it on, and drop the head on, and the paint seals it up. A little rusted here. So it's been in there for a while. A little rusted around the water passages. So this gasket's been in there for a while. The water and oil may be a gasket failure. Upper timing chain. Pretty standard. Oil slinger. Woo! Don't see those very often. Piston. The piston don't really look that bad. It's a little rusty. It's definitely frozen on the wrist pin. It's like aftermarket pistons. Then board 60 over, you can tell by looking right there. Should do the Uncle Tony swap and swap this piston so the other way. Standard casting number and part number for a 225 forged steel rod. And you can see if the crank's been turned. Pop the bolts off. This has been in it for a long time. It's getting streaks along the bearing. The bearing doesn't look that bad. You can see the wear marks on it. So this is getting in of life. It hasn't reached the point where you're seeing brass. That would have been bad. A little rust on the ends. Could be because it's been sitting for so long. This thing's stuck in there. I won't be using these bearings over. Huh. Well, let's see here. See right there? 10 under. It's been cranked 10 under. So we know at least the rods have been turned 10 under. Probably the vanes too. It's not bad for a 50-something. What was a 80-year-old engine? Let's see. 63, 220. Yeah, that's pretty close. Put that together right. I believe I did. There we go. Since this came out of a 69, probably with an automatic, makes me wonder what type of crank it has in it. Crank could have been replaced, because in 67 they changed the flange in the back where the torque converter sits. If I had to measure something to measure with, I'd measure it. So, to answer the question, is this a 198? No. It's a 225 from 1963. It's been rebuilt at least once, possibly more than once. Old stuff like this fascinates me. Piece of American history right there. At least this hasn't been shipped off to Korea to become a Kia. See if the valves are clear. Valves aren't stuck. That's a good thing. Let's check the spark plug, see how well it's doing. So tell me what the condition of the cylinder is like, possibly. Pretty black. Probably the carburetor is probably bad on this thing. Imagine I had a BBS of some sort, or a Holly one barrel. They wear out. Pretty black. There's the O-ring for the plug thing. If you notice, auto light resistor is number 66. That's the right spark range for this engine. There's a theme on the internet that's going around that says that this washer is supposed to go on this side. I have never done that. And whoever put this plug in here has never done that either. Supposedly there's a TSV bulletin out there from '63 that says that's what you're supposed to do. I have never done it. I've been working on these engines for a good 20 plus years now. And to me it's just not worth the hassle to try to take that washer off and putting it on the other side of the plug. For whatever reason they think it gives you a better seal or something, I don't know. The same people probably don't torque spark plugs either. And you really don't. Good twist of the thing and away you go. But then you can just go on and do a good little jerk like that and lift your spark plug up. Yeah, see how black these are? It's either burning a lot of oil or the carburetor's bad. I don't have the carburetor, so I don't know if the carburetor's bad. And there's a good chance this is burning oil too. It's old enough. These rings are stuck. That was like a new compression oil ring. In fact, these rings look almost new. Huh. Somebody rebuilt this not too long ago. And then unfortunately something messed up. And it got relegated to somebody's yard, side yard, and then they ended up in my garage. And it's got an internet thread about it. Well, that one's not so bad. It's kind of white. Maybe this was the last plug to fire before they shut the engine down. Need a part for my engine stand. One of the little fixtures I put on it to keep it from falling over, and I put a slant 6 in it. It's in a box over my storage shed, which I'll be emptying here pretty soon, so I'll find it. I'll put this thing on the engine stand, tear it down all the way, and see what we got. I suspect this is not a 63 crank, especially if it came out of a 69 Dart with an automatic transmission. You notice these plugs look almost new. Oh, that's not too bad. Last plug. That's nice and black. So 2 plugs look halfway decent, the rest are all black. So when I get this on the hinge down, we'll tear the head off, look at the bores on it and see if they're cracked or if it's just a bad head gasket. It could also be a warped head. Head causes the leak. So I guess there'll be a part 2 on this. Until then, we're off.